Here's the secret about life that 99% of you never learn. The tighter you grip life, the faster it slips through your fingers. But the second you loosen that grip, life starts showing up for you. And it's not luck, it's simply how life works. When you grip something too tight and you need something to happen precisely your way, then your energy stiffens. You inadvertently choke that very flow and you block what you desperately want. It's like trying to catch a river with your fist. The more you squeeze, the more the current slips right through your fingers. Think back to how many times you've been desperate for something in your life. It could be love or success or a simple answer that you were seeking. The harder you pushed, the more it recoiled, didn't it? And it drifted further away. But then you hit a wall. And exhaustion set in, and you finally just said, screw it. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care anymore. And suddenly, the doors swung open for you. Opportunities emerged, and people you needed or never knew you needed appeared. This is not a coincidence. It's because when you stop screaming need, that desperate clinging finally loosens, and you begin to whisper trust. And trust is magnetic. Need echoes a deep, hollow sense of lack. And letting go whispers a different truth. It says, I'm whole already. And if it comes, that's great. But if not, I'm still whole. That subtle internal recalibration, that profound shift from deficit to inherent completeness, that flips the script in your life. It's the first step into truly loving what is called Amor Fati. Amor Fati means loving every twist of your life, not just accepting it, but embracing all of fate like you chose it that way. Most people hear let go and they think it means to give up. No, letting go is stepping out of your own damn way. It's ceasing to micromanage every single outcome because deep down you're terrified it won't work. And you're thinking that you're not enough and that if you stop frantically trying, everything you built is gonna collapse. But that, my friend, is the ultimate trap because life isn't built on brute force. Life is built on flow. Have you noticed how the best things arrive when you're just living, not a care in the world? When you're truly present and you're unburdened and you're not suffocating the future with all your anxiety and expectations, that best friendship shows up, or the wild opportunities that changed your life's trajectory, it appears. And you often stumble into them while pursuing a different path. That's because you're not begging the world to notice you. The moments that make you feel most vibrantly alive, they weren't meticulously planned. They were lived. Why? Because life doesn't respond to effort. It responds to your frequency. And your energy is at its clearest and purest and most magnetic when you're truly at peace with yourself. Not needy, not desperate, just profoundly trusting. And when you trust, you're in a state of deep alignment. And when you're aligned, the things that are meant for you don't need to be chased. They arrive. They're drawn to the clarity of your frequency. This is the way of Amor Fati. It's not just accepting fate, it's embracing fate. It's embracing it fiercely, no matter how bad and terrifying it might seem in that moment. If you want to know what blocks all your prosperity faster than anything else, it's impatience and needing that answer now. If you panic because an outcome doesn't fit your tiny preconceived plan, you doubt life. And life has an intelligence far deeper, far more intricate and older than your most meticulous human plans. Life orchestrates possibilities and weaves opportunities. It engineers meetings and chances way beyond what your finite mind could conceive. And when you cling rigidly to one singular idea of how life must unfold, you become utterly blind to the superior ways that life is trying to give you a better path. When you remember those agonizing moments when something fell apart in your life and you were convinced it was the absolute worst thing ever, but then fast forward 6 months later and you looked back and you thought, thank God that didn't work out. That's life in its profound, wisdom. It's flexing its true power for you. Half the chaos you fear and the apparent setbacks are simply life rerouting you to something far better than you could imagine. And it's a path that you could have never seen from your tiny little vantage point as a bug, as a speck. You're just on this pale blue dot as a Homo sapien, a human with these limited sensory perceptions, and you think that is your highest outcome. No, Amor Fati is your highest outcome. It's the radical love of all the twists and turns, even the most devastating ones, knowing that they are part of a grander design for your unfolding. The more you loosen that grip, the more you release the desperate need for specific outcome at an exact time. And the more vast and welcoming space that you create, you usher in something more magnificent to come in. Trust isn't passive. Trust is power. Trust declares with quiet strength that I am showing up fully and I'm giving my all, but I'm not desperate. And I do not care that much about the outcome. It's about moving forward with trust and taking decisive action, but doing it without dragging the heavy, rusting chains of our rigid expectations. And when you embody that kind of fierce, joyful acceptance, it's called Amor Fati. And you're gonna notice people are drawn to you differently. They notice it with a genuine curiosity and ease because it's rare. Opportunities are gonna find you with less effort and somehow without all the frantic anxiety and struggle. The very things that you once fought so hard for begin to unfold with significantly less resistance and a touch more magic in your life. It's the energy of trust, and it's not frantic, it's effortless. And life unequivocally always answers the energy that you lead with. Here's where it gets even more profound though. And this touches on a core human paradox. Most people don't truly trust life because they've been conditioned from childhood to trust fear more than possibility or hope. We're taught to anticipate disaster, to expect betrayal, to constantly brace ourselves for the worst. So naturally, trusting life feels unsafe, even foolish. It's like standing on the edge of a vast cliff with no visible safety or harness lines. But here's the hidden truth that's gonna liberate you from this thinking. You're already standing on that cliff, and you have always been there since the day that you were born. Life was never truly controllable in the first place. And all the intricate plans, all the micromanaging, and all the gnawing anxiety, they only create that illusion of safety. They are a self-imposed prison of control. Real safety isn't building a dam, it's learning to surf the waves that life throws at you. It's about learning to be vibrantly alive within the chaos, in the eye of the hurricane, not fighting it, but moving with it like a powerful dance that you've always secretly known the rhythm to. This is the ultimate expression of Amor Fati. It's a radical love for every aspect of your experience, even the darkest storms. When you lean into trust, you don't abandon your dreams. You stop wrestling them into existence. You stop suffocating them with pressure, and you realize something truly powerful. What's meant for you isn't fragile. It doesn't need you to squeeze it tighter or to control every aspect of it as it reaches you. It needs you to meet it halfway. That's showing up, that's discipline, but then trusting. And every single thing that you're desperately trying to force right now, every person you're chasing and every goal you're strangling with your fear, you are actively blocking it by gripping it with that very fear instead of meeting it with trust. The moment you ease that grip, the moment you take a deep breath and you say, I trust life to lead me where I'm meant to go, everything begins to move faster, but it moves softer, easier, and more naturally. You are no longer standing in your own way. This is the strength of Amor Fati. It's transforming fear into a powerful flow and a dance with life. Here's something rarely discussed though. but it is impactful. Most of the struggle you feel in life isn't because you're doing the wrong things. It's because you're doing them with a tight grip, with an underlying current of fear. And then you have that voice whispering in your head, if I don't make this happen, I'm gonna lose everything. And you start to grip harder. You start to panic when the results don't show up. And you mistake fundamental failure for the absence of instant gratification. When in truth, you're simply just trying to force life into a mold that it wasn't even meant for. Life doesn't respond to force. It responds to your alignment. And when you're acting from fear, you create resistance. But when you're acting from trust and from that deep well of Amor Fati, you create momentum. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who feels effortlessly magnetic, that charisma? They trust their path. They trust life to carry them. And it's like they radiate a different energy field entirely. Here's the secret. You can cultivate that too. You don't need to become better or smarter or more impressive. You need to become lighter in the load that you carry. You need to remember that you are halfway there. And without needing to squeeze life into a perfect, arbitrary timeline of your own self-conceived notions, the moment you stop trying to control the outcome, the very outcomes you desire start to give you clues that you're on the right path. Like a river that finally finds its true course when the obstructing boulders are cleared away. And the less you panic, the more open you are, and the less you chase, then the more you attract with your frequency. The less you grip, the more you grow. It's not about doing less, it's about being different. You are gonna become calmer, wiser, and a more powerful version of yourself, not through brute force, but through a profound trust and embracing the ethos of Amor Fati. Here's the real paradox, and no one fully explains this, that one thing that will set you free is to loosen your grip. It sounds almost unfair though, doesn't it? Because you're told in society, from school to the workforce, that you need to grind, to micromanage every detail. And yet somehow things still slip through your fingers as the decades go by. The moment you consciously ease up, the right opportunities, the right people, and the right moments, they land in your lap. And it isn't magic, it's simply frequency alignment. When you're desperate, people feel it. They don't even know why they feel it. It's not a logical thing. Even if you smile, even if you say the right eloquent words, people can sense the underlying desperation. They know when you can't lose a deal or you feel that it may not work out. And it pushes things away. But when you stop depending on the outcome to define you, and when you find your wholeness within, then you move differently. You speak differently. You walk into rooms with a different presence, and you don't need things to happen anymore. You don't give a damn. You choose for them to happen. And that subtle internal shift will change everything in your life. That's because life mirrors your inner state. If you're constantly doubting, constantly questioning, life will keep throwing obstacles to test that doubt. But if you consistently trust and if you cultivate Amor Fati, then life begins to throw open doors and roll out bridges that you didn't even know existed. It's like a silent, unbreakable contract that you're forging with reality. You're telling reality, I will trust you to unfold, and you will trust me to show up. And then you stop waking up every morning consumed by panic, all about how or when your dreams will materialize. And you wake up with an excitement and an inner peace, and it materializes into a certainty that you know you're on your path and it's already en route. You're gonna walk lighter, you're gonna breathe deeper, because the crushing weight of needing it all right now, it dissolves. And you become magnetic, not by chasing, but by embodying the very person who already belongs to that life that you want. This is where true success is, not in a frantic race, but in a graceful dance with trust. It's in that deep Amor Fati that allows you to trust that life's delays are your setups, and you trust that missed opportunities or failures are profound protection. You trust that what's for you is already moving towards you, even when you can't see it. This is the hidden advantage. It's the strength that most people will never tap into their entire lives. They never realize this radical trust. And it's called Amor Fati. It might be the shortcut that you've been looking for all along. So when you deeply trust life, something even more profound happens. You stop forcing timelines that were never meant for you. See, our culture from school to the workforce and our instincts were obsessed with timelines. And you think, I need to make this happen now, and if I don't, then I'm a failure. But here's the reality. Speed means absolutely nothing if you're sprinting towards the wrong thing. That's your trajectory. And if your trajectory is off just a few inches, you could be off miles from your target. So real trust is Amor Fati. That's the art of allowing the right things to take their shape, even if it's slower than your ego desires it to happen. What you force, more often than not, eventually breaks. And what you trust and what you allow to unfold naturally builds itself stronger, and it compounds like a snowball rolling down a hill and turning into an avalanche. It's gonna turn your life into something more magnificent than you could have ever imagined on your own. Think, if you will, the most significant and most transformative things that have happened so far in your life. You might be in your teens, your 20s, your 30s, but if you look into your life, the most important things that happened to you so far didn't arrive on your personal deadline, did they? They showed up on their own timeline. And they did so in ways that you could not have planned. It might have been that friendship that came out of nowhere when you were traveling, or the opportunity that kickstarted your new business to where you don't have to work a job and you have time freedom and location freedom. That's what life does. That's how the universe responds when you stop screaming, "Where is it?" and you start whispering, "Amor Fati, I'm ready when you are." That's a grander rhythm to life. It's a cosmic dance that's so much bigger than the pressure that you feel right now. And when you consciously step into trust and you embrace Amor Fati, you align yourself with that rhythm. You stop interrupting your own blessings with fear. And you stop rushing into places that you were never meant to be. You stop shrinking every time things don't go according to your own ego's meticulous script. And instead, you allow life to surprise you in the most beautiful and unexpected ways, because you have that trust in unseen forces that are working for you and that are infinitely more powerful than the visible ones that you see. That is the true power of Amor Fati. And you know what? There's also a humorous part of this, but it's important. When you truly start living this way, people are going to notice fast. And they won't be able to explain it because it's not logical. They'll just see you walking differently, speaking differently. You'll radiate peace and a stillness that they can't explain. And they're going to wonder what changed. But you'll know it wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was trust. And it was the kind of trust where it happens without a struggle. It's beautiful. And it unfolds like a dance with the universe. Here's the quiet secret that you're going to start to realize once you trust life and you embody Amor Fati. You're going to realize that you didn't miss out on a single thing in your life. You're not falling behind, you're not losing time, and you're not simply allowing yourself to exist in a world that's constantly grasping for speed and deadlines. You're going to see the ones who ceaselessly chase every shiny and fleeting moment, and they're going to be the ones who miss out on the truly significant opportunities that you're going to notice, because real opportunities don't scream for your attention. They whisper. They show up when your mind is clear and when your hands aren't already frantically clutching 5 other things in fear. See, trusting life isn't about passively waiting and doing nothing. It's about showing up and living in a way where your peace becomes more magnetic than your panic, where the right people and moments and paths naturally unfold to connect with you. Not because you force them to with your script, but because you made space for them. You're going to begin to notice it in the small ways first too, but it'll be on better terms than you could have ever planned on your own, because life in its magnificent reciprocity rewards those who are willing to trust it with an open heart. and not with clenched fists, not with desperation, but with a quiet confidence. It's the ultimate paradox, isn't it? The less you force, the faster it unfolds. And the less you obsess over it, the more naturally it's going to find you. Because when you're not anchored in fear, your frequency is different. You speak differently. You radiate something that people instinctively want to be near. That's why you see it in those who are truly evolved, those who possess a profound understanding of life's rhythm. There's a calmness about quiet strength, and it does defy logic and explanation. They're not rushing to prove their worth. They're not trying to earn what's already on its way. And that's an energy that could be yours. And you could have it starting today. If you're tired of living in chase mode, and if you're ready to experience how truly powerful you become when you stop forcing, then your time is now. I want you to choose trust, choose alignment, be calm, choose to believe with every fiber of your being that life is not working against you. It's orchestrating something far better than your ego could have imagined in your limited sensory capacity. And if this message spoke to your deepest self, your soul, if you're ready to let go and move differently from today on, drop a comment with your intentions below. Let's see how many of us are shifting into a different kind of power together. In your next chapter, it doesn't begin with more chasing. It begins with more trusting. It's going to begin with Amor Fati, the profound love for your fate and the unwavering belief that your fate in return is going to love you back. Thanks for watching. Check out my last video right here, and never underestimate the power of Amor Fati.